Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the one and only David Bentz Show. And here comes your host, David Bentz. Yes, it's me, David Bentz, and welcome to another edition of the David Bentz Show, also known as The Extreme, and I am ready for another call. Today I have none other than RUDO with me, and here it goes. 1, 2, 3. Hello, RUDO, you are live on the David Bentz Show.
Indeed.
First off, I must say congratulations on your win. We had a hell of a match.
Indeed. No less than expected, but what can you do?
Well, all I can say is, it was what it was. I accept defeat, win, lose, or draw. I knew it was going to be a good match. But I must say that it is very interesting to have you on my show, and I am glad to have this opportunity to share this new opportunity of having a talk show segment for CWS with you.
So you should be.
So, what do you plan? What are your new plans for now that this is over between you and me? What are your new plans going forward in CWS?
I don't care what I have to go through. I don't care what I need to do. I'm going to be the final world champion CWS has ever seen. Whether that's at WrestleMania, whether that's at episode 10, I don't care. I'm going to be the final world champion.
Very good, very good. Okay. Now, one thing that a lot of people have been questioning is that of the prophecy. And so I must bring it up. What exactly is the prophecy? Is it written word? Is it a lifestyle? What is the prophecy?
The prophecy will unveil itself, and that is all I've got to say.
Oh, okay. We have ourselves a mystery, and I will leave it at that. Now, tell us a little, since you are a part of the Troclops, tell us a little bit more about your group in general. Besides the message of the prophecy, is there anything else that your group plans on delivering to CWS?
Diversity, power, dominance, whatever you want. Generally, just look out for each other and take over. Three of us. I mean, look, you got the big three now. I mean, there's three of us. There's three of them. I suggest that they're brave enough. They put all the titles on and they face us all at once. But this is AJ Young, so he's classic. He's the classic bitch anyway. So he's not gonna try that. I mean, I feel sorry for him. He's grown up his whole life a coward. But I mean, well, if you're sharing the same building with me, you can't expect him not to be a coward, can you?
I definitely agree. However, AJ Young has given me a few opportunities, so I must respect that. He is one of my bosses. So
He does write your paycheck.
That's exactly the point being. I must ask, one thing I would like to ask is, how was your flight to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for the episode of WarZone? How was your flight?
Interesting question, but my flight was absolutely fine. I wish I could say the same for the person who tried to push in front of me to the queue for the toilet, but well, he's going to spend the rest of his days with a broken ankle in hospital. That's nothing more than I can. Well, he knew it was coming when he tried to push me out of the way, but well, what can you do?
Exactly. Any words in regards to your buddy the Bone Duster's loss in that match?
But his loss, well, considering that he got pinned, didn't he?
Yes.
Well, this is only his first match. The fact he lost is as long as he did. If necessary, I'll put on 2 extra hours of making him sweat his boobs off. I'll put in more training next time. We're both together.
I understand. Me personally, I feel like I might have to take some time off, not due to injury, but maybe to reinvent myself. Any words of advice in regards to that?
I mean, look at me. I flukily lost to Reggie Tiller. He cheated. We've had that cleared up. He cheated. No matter what Socko says, he cheated. All I'm gonna say is, don't stop what you're doing now. If you keep on, just gonna keep on pushing yourself lower and lower. You're just gonna get good at starting over. You're not actually to quote the Foo Fighters, you are only going to get good at starting off. You're not going to move any further if you keep repackaging yourself. Just stay doing what you're doing. Soon enough, the wins will pile up. Not against me, but the wins will pile up one way or another.
One person, I wonder if this person is somewhat of an inspiration towards you. Because we're going off the topic of episode 9 for a minute, and I just need to know, was this person any form of inspiration you coming into CWS? Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett, well, he wasn't really inspiration. I guess he paved the way. Him and Lord Stephen Regal, Mark Rollerball, Rocco, we call Squire Dave Taylor. All those people kind of paved the way for me. They kind of pushed the door open, and now I'm walking through. They're lying down for me, I'm walking all over their backs, and I'm doing what they couldn't, and I'm winning a world title.
Alright, we all know that your finisher is indeed a brainbuster. Do you have a name for this finisher?
Well, the RKO was the snakebite, I guess. What should I call the brainbuster? The final cut's been used 1,000 times over. I shall call it the Suicide Silence.
Ooh, the Suicide Silence. Well, I do know that the song that was the theme to MASH was Suicide is Painless, so there must be some silence in there somewhere, so it does sound irrelevant, and it does work out. I do like it, and I do hope to see it soon. Yes?
Yes, you probably will. You may
Okay.
see the snakebite come back again sometime soon. You may see the Suicide Silence. We'll just see.
Next week, episode 10 is indeed a special one. It will be the first ever open fight night. You'll be able to open a challenge to anyone. I don't know if the title will be on the line, if it is to a champion, but is there a certain person who you would like to go up against?
I'd like to, well, possibly everybody wants Mr. Creaky Knees, Nathan Roberts. Everybody wants Mr. Creaky Knees. What do you call it? Not creaky knees when I talk about squeaky joints, flipping Nathan. You see, I don't even know his fucking name. That's how relevant he is. He's a fucking paper champion. He got the title handed to him. He's not going to defend it because he knows the second the bell rings, he's lost.
Do you believe that all this hype that was going on prior to the episode airing of episode 9, Talk of the Big Three, all of this hype of Von Hollywood being the chosen one of the inner circle, the one who will take the world title, was that a swerve on us, or do you believe that to be true on AJ Young's behalf?
Be honest, we've seen what AJ to the beat went. But keep eyes in the back of your head. Don't trust that guy. Or not keep eyes in the back of your head, because chances are Nathan Roberts will be used if you could take over it. Will be used to kick you out if you end up kicking out Nathan, and it'll be official. So, because Nathan Roberts
I understand.
In the family, his so-called family, that he's screwed. He has no power aside from his role on paper.
I agree. I understand the whole role. I don't fully get, though, this transition from inner circle to the big three. It doesn't make sense to me. For a lot of the members of the big three were in the inner circle at one point in time. For instance, you have Von Hollywood. Of course, he is a member of both. AJ Young, the leader of both. And at one point in time, you had Nathan Money Roberts, who was the United States champion and is again. He was in both. The only difference is instead of the yes, the only difference at the time would be the world champion who went from Nathan Hinton to Sabsis, and now Sabsis to Nathan Hinton again. And I don't understand, what is this, just obsession with power with the gold, or what? In your opinion? Hello?
What do you call Bolshevik lead? Wait, say that again, sorry.
It's okay. I was just mainly saying, do you find this obsession with power to be somewhat annoying in regards to AJ Young?
Like Joseph Stalin, like any great dictator, Nathan Roberts, not Nathan Roberts, AJ Young is a megalomaniac. He does not have the power. If there's something he doesn't understand, if there's something he can't keep hold of, he doesn't like it.
Now,
He can't, the things he doesn't like his own circle.
one question I do have for you and your group, being somewhat of a UK invasion, to 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 say at least. If the chance came for you to win the United States Championship, would it be changed to the European title? Hello?
So you've mentioned as a competition control apocalypse, we can't be introduced, we can't be endorsed in a country that stole it away from us.
I understand. I understand. Well, I uh, let's change the subject and go into World War. World War, you have already qualified, I believe, and you do have a spot in the battle royale. What are your chances?
Right. Well, what are my chances? Well, normally he has a 1 in 30 chance. You see, the thing is, me, I'm 10 times better than everybody, so I have a 10 in 30 chance. I have a 1 for chance.
I understand where you're coming from. There has to be a lot of confidence.
It doesn't work out mathematically, but
okay. Well, again, let's change the subject once again. From World War, let's go on and move on to a few of the roster members, and we're going to do a shoot interview. I will say a name, you give me your thoughts. Okay?
Certainly.
All right. KK Banks.
Ooh, interesting. I mean, talking about this knife he's got, but it never seems to show up whenever he's in the arena, so I'm going to say fraud, but quite an interesting personality, to say the least.
Okay. Even though he is fired, the Sabsis.
Sabsis? Well, he is another classic case of weak champion. Somebody who stands around AJ Young to make AJ Young feel strong. He is a weak champion. If AJ Young can go to sleep with the fact that he's stronger than the world champion, he can sleep happy. If he can't do that, he will not sleep until he is once again rectified that he is stronger than the world champion.
But you do have to give him some credit for winning that gauntlet.
Where he is, and to have gotten where he is, I mean, I respect him more as a champion than I ever did with than I ever have New Hinton, but still, classic case of weak champions.
Okay, just to throw my name in there, D Extreme.
Interesting competitor, probably the first person in CWS, aside from the Top Apocalypse, to actually gain my respect in some form or another.
Okay. Although he hasn't wrestled in a while, but he did throw out a very interesting break kayfabe promo during Fully Loaded. Nate the Great, aka Bully Nate from Call of Honor.
Well, he's the boss, and I mean, considering his ethnicity, he has some pretty interesting words that I'm not going to say I disagree with, and I mean, he's a brilliant commentator to say the least. I mean, he's right, Call of Honor is complete crap. I don't watch that show, there's a reason for that. It is complete crap. Whatever he's saying, I support you 100%. Just give me a cup, boss.
I agree. Okay, the Bone Duster.
Oh, wow. See, where I am not, he is, so if I win the world title, he is almost certainly going to be the Hollywood champion or the United States champion.
Would you consider yourself in the run together as a tag team champions?
If the opportunity arises, I don't see why not, but it is not my focal target.
Okay. One name that everyone seems to like bash on, and I called it right last week during my prediction. Sako 105.
Well, he talks a big game, but seriously, he cannot live up to his game. He is many things. One of the most of all is a coward. When he doesn't have somebody like Vaughn to protect him, and he doesn't have the inner circle to protect him, he is nothing. You saw that once the inner circle cut the fat and they kicked him off. He's scared. He knows that he's got nobody to protect him now. For once in his life, he's got to do it himself. He can't beat anybody in 10 seconds. He won't be getting any more 3-on-1 matches where he is put the free. But yeah, he's scared. Let's just say the sands of time is slowly running short for him.
Ryan Carroll.
Oh, what more can I say about Ryan Carroll? Very vocal, I mean, that's like the second time he's lost the title to Nathan Roberts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see him actually keep the title for for a bit longer than a week, but I mean, Brian Carroll, he is, in many ways, he is the most controversial. He is the it factor of CWS in many ways, aside from myself.
Another name I must bring up would have to be none other than the 420 Goonie.
Well, considering his situation with wins and losses, I think he's quite happy. I don't know what he's smoking. He's 420, so I'm guessing that he's obviously got a stash somewhere, and he's got it for a reason. If you just looked at his win-loss record, but I mean, he got jumped by Vaughn, then he got pinned. I mean, it's not going well for him. I can only hope he does well in his what you call open fight night match. I'm rooting for you, Goonie.
Okay, Lonnie.
Lonnie, the new Jack of CWS. Well, I just hope the only thing I really like about this guy, aside that he's gone a bit from New Jack to R-Truth, is that he managed to put Nathan Roberts through the top of the cage. Before I joined CWS, I watched that over and over. It was a gagging point, and it was a good way to learn AJ Young's weaknesses.
Okay.
Thank you, Lonnie.
All right. Interesting factor right here. We're going to, because we brought up the 420 Goonie, and of course we've already talked about Von Hollywood. I'd like to do a discussion that I'd like to call Versus, where I will talk about one division and it's changed to another, and we will talk what do you believe was the better, should it go back from this to that, and the Versus being the Hollywood title and the hardcore title. Are you more so for the Hollywood title, or do you find your style more so that of the hardcore division and wishing it was still around?
I found myself more suited to the Hollywood title. I don't like the 24/7 rule. I think it devalues the title completely. They've got a current title in one of the Japanese promotions, which has switched hands about 918 times as of last week, when probably switched hands about another 70 since then. It's not a good idea to have a 24/7 rule. I think Vaughn, no matter what I think from his side, I think he's changed that title up a lot. I think he's made it something which we never thought it would be. He's actually brought prestige to it.
I understand. But my counter argument being, how as dangerous as you and your group are, do you like being able to get away with that hardcore style to some extent?
It may just be the way I was trained, it may just be my own personal views, but I am not an advocate of a hardcore style. It is reckless, it's dangerous, and it's how AIDS is passed along in this business. I'm not a fan of that hardcore style. If I have to use it, I will use it, but it's not my first option. I'm trained so well, I do not need to use it.
Okay. Is there a finisher maneuver amongst the Trocalypse that is a tag team maneuver?
Well, you haven't, and well, you're not going to see it until it's used, so I can't see you there.
Okay. Tell us. I'd like to dig deeper into the character of Brother RUDO, and I must know where. We all know where you hail, but we would like to know where you were trained. Who trained RUDO? Who made RUDO into what he is now, the undefeated one?
Many people trained RUDO. Over the course of the years I was training, I went from the UK naturally. I was trained there, taught how to bridge eyebrows to the mat there. I went to Japan. I was kicked the shit out of, and in turn I kicked the shit back. I've been to Mexico. I've learned how to work the right side and the left side. Bit of inside there for all you marks. And I've been pretty much everywhere I needed to be before I came. I've been trained in pretty much every style. You've watched me move around.
Of course.
I've got Mexican style, I've got Japanese style, I've got the British style. I bring everything. I bring all the best parts of every style to the table.
All right. Well, that is very interesting. Do you in comparison to Brother Bone Duster's style, what do you, not to put one against the other, so to speak? I mean, you are a group, but which style do you see as more superior?
To be honest, I think if you compare win-loss records, you got to see mine. Bone Duster's got that all-out brawling style where he just does whatever he has to win. I respect that, but to be honest, I think this is the art where you need skill as well as you need strength, as well as you need the ability to fight. You need skill as well. So,
okay.
If any, I'm gonna say my style is superior. Okay. I'm knocking him. My style is superior.
Looking at my style, so to speak, do you see the difference that one Heavy D brought up, or do you see, yes, he is I want to be John Cena.
I think the only comparisons between you and John Cena are the five knuckle shuffle and the clothing. You look like a little bit of the white boy gangster from about 2004. It sets you out from everybody else. You don't look like everybody else on the roster, thank God. But your style is sort of more John Cena. I didn't give you a chance to show it off, rightfully so. We called the last time we faced, but yeah.
Looking at my first match, though, my match against KK Bentz, would you say otherwise?
It's got a very typical American style. You don't have a little 6 moves, 7 moves of doom, 5 moves of doom, whatever it is. You don't have that kind of mentality. You've just got the standard American. You just got the standard American suplex, roll up, backbreaker style.
It's kind of hard to say coming from with the fact of the matter that I was flying around the whole ring on my first match. It was kind of like a change of styles from flying around the match, destroying KK Bentz, to kind of having to go technical with you.
When you're in the sport, you got to be ready for anything. You got to at least find, even if you can't out wrestle me, you got to find something which I can't do that you can. That's hard to do, but you got to look hard. You got to look deep. And I know you've only got 5-10 minutes or however long they actually allow you to do it, but that's what you got to do. The 90% of this game is thinking. If you can't think straight, you're not going to lose. You want to look what happened to fucking... Sorry about that. Look what happened to Chris Benoit. His mind messed up, and he's not exactly... Well, yeah, he is here, but you know what happened to him.
Of course. Would you... In terms of the color commentary team, are you more so pro Mike the Outsider or more so pro Heavy D? Like, who do you like in terms of the commentary team?
To be honest, I'm a big fan of Michael the Outsider. He always gets a laugh from me. His views are quite funny. I enjoyed his commentary during my match. He was there. He was willing to praise me. He was willing to. I think as long as you're praising me, as long as you can identify my moves, I'm absolutely happy with what you've got to say.
Okay, well, what is your thoughts on customization of a belt? Rather it stay the same name but a different look. What is your takes on that?
I think it depends on the person entirely. You look at all the great champions of the past, because Stone Cold Steve Austin, he changed the design of the belt. John Cena, if you change it just for you, if you can change, resets you out from the rest, it means that this is your title, that you have made a mark on it. But I'm not talking like anything upside down. I could have done that. I can do that on a 12-year-old's belt. You got to be creative. If you're going to do it, be creative. If you're not going to do it, just leave it how it is.
All right. Well, one thing that I am planning on doing before next week's episode, I'm actually booked on a flight later on tonight to go to Mexico. I have I booked a training gig, and I'm supposed to be learning a few new moves with this guy he's Canadian, but he has lived in Mexico for some while, and he kind of has developed his new style. It's like a combination of ground and pound technicality, but throws in a little lucha libre in there. And so we're supposed to be working on a few new moves. And the one question that I'd like to bring up is, do you think there should be a change in my finisher? My finisher has not been seen yet. Everybody thinks that flapjack was a finisher, but it wasn't. My actual finisher is basically a reverse Death Valley driver. And I'm unsure if I should keep that finisher or should I change it up to something a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more technical, or should I just go with something that comes out of nowhere like a super kick?
To be honest, I'm more of an advocate of, it depends what situation entirely. If you have battered your opponent, look at my finishes. You've got the suicide silence, where, as I showed on you, we batter your opponent to the point where they can't really fight it, and you lift them up, you drop them on their neck, and it's over. Or you've got the snake bite, which you pretty much just pull out of nowhere and get the surprise factor. Ideally, I'm going to say, keep what you're doing now. Maybe speed it up a little bit so you don't give the opponent a chance to wriggle out, but also get hold of something which you can just pull out of nowhere at the click of a finger when your opponent least suspects it. If it's a mission like the Kikina Clutch or something, just sneak up behind the opponent, lock it in, and damn, it's over.
Okay. Now, one thing that I must say, and I really do respect this, is the fact that you brought up prior to our match that you respected me to the point where you would have no problem of us going to a draw. If it did come up where we had a rematch and it went to a draw, what would your reaction be to it?
I've beaten you already. I don't really need to beat you again to prove anything to myself, so I wouldn't be surprised. It just shows that you have indeed heeded my advice and you have gotten better. So I would respect that you have gotten better to the point where you can not beat me, but you can but you cannot lose to me. I've beaten you already, so I don't really need to beat you again. I can live with the fact that I've beaten you once already.
That's all it takes. I understand. One thing that I must say is, and I brought this up last week with the guys that were here. What is? Damn. Excuse me.
Anytime.
One thing that I must say is that I love. Oh my god. Excuse me. One thing that I must say is that I really do. I love the diversity that it is amongst CWS, but I always question the roster and the fact that AJ Young brought in during that gauntlet match, and he kept some people outside of CWS in the roster, such as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, people outside of our company, to just take part in different events. Like, what is your take of somewhat of I won't say a full-on invasion, but somewhat of having these people from other organizations that they believe is bigger than us on our turf?
I guess it's good for business. We could boost our profile by having people like Kevin Nash and the Great Scott Hall on here, but Nate the Great's a Scott Hall mark. You can't really blame him for bringing in Scott Hall, but I'm a big fan of bringing in Stinger. I was a big fan, not so much a big fan of bringing in Child Killer Benoit, but it's just the profile of the company, which means I get paid more, you get paid more. My world title means more, your title means more. I'm absolutely fine.
Okay. Well, I'm not, since I only have one person on the call. I am not going to go a full hour. But I will end on this discussion right here. I'd like to talk about what I plan on doing and working on as a project with different people, and that is the CWS Appreciation Show. It will be a tribute show towards AJ Young and Mr. Carter, and I discussed this last show with what people thought would be a good card for this show. And if you are on this card, who would your dream opponent be? Rather it be titleless, the title on the line or not? Is there someone on the roster that you just know you could put on the match with? Because I want this card to be top of the line, like pure determination, dedication, the whole 9 yards. But every match is the main event.
Okay. I think preferably 3 people come to mind. That's obviously Nathan Roberts and 4 people actually. Obviously the champions. I reckon I could put on aside from our match, I could put on the greatest match CWS has ever seen with either of those 3 champions. It'd be pretty one-sided, but I could make it work. The other person would have to be Socko. That and under my nails since I got in here, and well, like anything under your nails, you just want to scrape it out, and I want to scrape out Socko. Given the opportunity, the Lord knows I'll scrape out Socko.
Okay. Did you have any problems with? This is one person I forgot to bring up in regards to the shoot interview. What was your take on the feud between Lonnie and Peter Gilmore? Like, what was your take on that and your personal thoughts on Peter Gilmore?
My take on that, Peter Gilmore, this is coming from me. He was a tad out of line. If you can't beat a man, if you can't go anywhere else but to insult his family, to insult the way he's been brought up, to call him a monkey, to any of that kind of crap, if you bring racism into something, it just proves how little intellect you have, and it just proves how you are not cut out for this game if you have to go that low. And this is coming from me. Okay, what I think of Peter Gilmore as a person, he's 37. What is he now? I don't know how old he is, but from what's been proved numerous times, he still lives with his parents. He's obviously got some kind of mental disability, I've noticed. I think he's dyslexic with like very extreme autism, something like that. I don't know, but something's not quite right with him. he's challenging all these people to fights. He never actually turns up. They never turn up because they know that he's never going to turn up. But again, well, I'm glad he's gone. I don't want to be in a roster with somebody like that. And it's bad for him, and I don't want my name in the same pack as him.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of in a complex situation right now. I'm trying to figure out, since it is open fight night next week, I'm trying to figure out a good idea of who I should challenge, if given the opportunity to make an open challenge to anyone. Any suggestions of who the Extreme should face next week?
I think the Extreme should face anybody who he considers a challenge, but not so much of a challenge that he cannot defeat. Like me, for example, I beat Frankie Gallinari on my debut. I retired Frankie Gallinari. He hasn't come back since. Reggie Todd cheated against me, so I haven't. So the loss was reversed. Apparently, I'm getting my rematch against him. We'll just see when the contract is handed over, but for his last match, which probably means it's going to job to me knowing the reputation he's got now with Michael Outsider, and now, what's the question again? Sorry.
I just needed a I don't want to fully think of just going off of canned heat and my personal rivalries amongst the different roster members. I just want to put on a good match, and I'm trying to decide of a good person to challenge for open fight night, and I don't fully have that settled yet, and I just wanted to know, like, did you have any suggestions? I'm taking different suggestions on this before I finally make my decision and cut my promo.
Guessing after last week's episode, there's no good in you challenging KK again. I'm gonna say challenge Magnitude status. He's hot and on the run. If you can stop that, that'll do great things to you, and that'll do bad things to him. And you should always have that in mind. Or Soccer. He's currently on the down. If you can be one of the people he loses to, really, put a nail in his coffin, and it can put another step in your ladder.
In that case, that I will take that under consideration, and I'm glad that you came on the show today. It has been such a great honor for you and for me, because I feel like we have closed a chapter in our lives in regards to our rivalry. In return of rivalry fueled a fire and wanting to just prove our dominance in the ring, we have gained respect for one another. So I honor that, and I must say thank you for stopping by, and I will end the show with a little bit of music and the end credits. And is there anything you would like to plug? Anything that you would like to say for closing thoughts?
Follow me on Twitter at Hiro Del Gojira, and just add me on Facebook if you don't have me already at Hiro Del Gojira as well.
And of course, Hail the Prophecy.
Hail the Prophecy.
Goodbye, everybody.